We're going back to basics because food is expensive and B is for banana bread. If you've been following the Back to Basics series for any amount of time, you know that the reason why I cook is because I enjoy it. But what you don't know is that I actually prefer baking a lot of the time. When I began this project with this book in mind, I wasn't really sure what the recipes were going to yield. I wasn't sure if I should tweak things according to how I bake now, or if I should just stick with what's in the book. When I decided to use the exact recipe that's in this book, with all of the instructions that they include, I realized that this would have been a very easy thing to make as a kid, but these are not techniques that I would use these days. Over the summer, my husband was the one who took on taking care of making banana bread. Sometimes it would come out not so great, and other times it would come out fantastic. But those things weren't as important as the fact that he was using the bananas so we didn't toss them, and more importantly, he was spending time with our kids. It might sound funny to be so proud of his effort, but if you knew my husband, you'd already know. He is more of a grill person. So the fact that he took on any recipe just to use the food we have on hand made me really excited. A lot of the times when he made these recipes, it was when I happened to be out of town, which means that he was not only taking care of our household, which he's more than capable of doing, but he was also being super intentional about how he spent time with our kids. It wasn't just day after day of playing video games. It was super intentional time. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. Now, times when we made banana bread together, I will say I did tweak things. We've tried so many recipes. We've got on ChatGPT. I looked at all recipes. I looked in our books that we have because for some reason, everybody has their own version of banana bread. And still, even after all those recipes, none of them quite hit the spot like that of my grandmother's banana bread. As you see me putting this recipe together, there are a couple of things I think you need to know when it comes to making your own banana bread. And the reason why I share these things is because if you've not been an avid baker, or you never watched anyone bake in front of you, you might not know what these things are. My earliest memories in the kitchen are actually my grandmother's cooking. She is literally the person who taught me how to grease a pan. Now, I use a brush, but she probably is still using her bare hands. And I think that's the coolest thing about baking. It's learning little techniques along the way to make your process better for the future baking. Something that I got to teach my husband that I learned with baking with a friend back in San Antonio is make sure you're always creaming your sugar and your butter together. And while this recipe doesn't say to do that explicitly, because this book is supposed to be more inclusive and you're to use the things you have on hand, I just thought it was important to mention it. Because it's the exact reason why, when I saw my husband's banana bread one time, we realized there was a very grave mistake that was made. With whatever recipe you choose to use to make banana bread, from the internet or from the description in the caption, I hope that you're enjoying baking and cooking. And most importantly, I hope you're well fed. So go get those ugly bananas. We have meals to make.